Where else would you want to spend your 50th wedding anniversary than going on a bear hunt with my honey? Today at home with Miss Joan, we're talking about going to Homer, Alaska. Oh.
Where?
Today at home with Miss Joan, we're talking about going to Homer, Alaska from Seward. Rented a car, 3 hours to get to Seward to Homer.
Yeah.
Driveaways because we was hungry and we stopped to eat. And I don't remember where we ate. What was the name of it?
Let's back up a little bit. She skipped a lot, probably because she was asleep for most of the ride. We picked up the car in Seward and we headed towards Homer. You just drive a little ways in Seward, and then when you turn on what's called Road 1, it literally takes you straight to Homer. Like, you really can't miss it. And you go through tons of cute little Alaskan towns that will be fun to explore. In fact, a lot of people say that when they drive to Homer, it takes them several hours to get there because they stop in so many of the different towns. Now, when we were driving, it was kind of rainy, so we weren't feeling like, let's stop and look. We're hoping that when we drive back to Seward in a few days, that it will be really pretty those days, and we might can stop and look at some of the things in the different towns. And when we got to Cooper Landing, I believe that's maybe an hour from Seward, I had heard of 2 different restaurants that were recommended in Cooper Landing. And so we picked one of those to eat at, and that was called Gwen's.
Oh, you go in, and it's tight quarters in there.
It's really tight.
The music is super loud, but if you like rock music, you'll really like it. I had a really nice menu. I got the
spicy chicken sandwich.
We both did spicy chicken sandwich and fries, and Preacher got
Philly cheesesteak.
Philly cheesesteak. He loved his.
I loved mine.
They had warned us that it was spicy. So,
hence the name, spicy chicken sandwich.
Yeah, but I thought it was something I could kind of wipe off of it and it'd be all right, but I couldn't get it off of it. It's just I'm not a really hot, spicy person.
And I thought it was delicious.
Yeah, we're usually polar opposites.
We are. We didn't stop for gas in Soldotna, but everything I had read said that if you need to stop for gas, that the best place is Soldotna, that it's actually cheaper there than when you head on into Homer area. What you have is you have the town of Homer, and then you have what's called the Homer Spit.
S-P-I-T.
Yes. And so the spit is actually land that juts out into the ocean. In fact, the Homer Spit is the largest spit in the whole world. And we are staying literally at the very end of it.
Yeah, we're just spitting everywhere.
We are. Our hotel is called Land's End.
I don't know if you can see out, but we're staying at Land's End. And this morning, if you had been here, all kind of boats were just taking off, going around here and headed fishing or whatever they do. But it was a beautiful, beautiful sight to see. And just sitting here looking out, I mean, it's breathtaking. I don't know if you can see the tall, tall mountains out there. I mean, Homer is a beautiful place.
On the spit, you got like a boardwalk of like all these different little shops you can walk into. It's really cute setup. There's lots of beaches. Now, it's not beaches like what we're used to in Alabama. This is very rocky beaches. They're still absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it's cold.
It is cold. It's all the things that we're wearing.
It reminds me of just something that Preacher loved to go to, would be like a fishing town. I mean, that's right up his alley.
Well, I'm enjoying being in Homer, Alaska. There's a large harbor here with all kind of different boats, and you see fishermen everywhere. It's the halibut season. They're catching a lot of fish. Homer is the halibut capital of the world.
And I've eaten some of it. It's really good. On the second day in Homer, our tour guide, a.k.a. our boss, our daughter, she's a very good tour guide though, she booked us on what's boat tours. And it's a big boat that you get on, and it took us, oh goodness, to a remote place called Seldovia. And you can only get there by plane or boat. Hey y'all, At Home with Miss Joan is in Seldovia with Preacher.
All the birds that live around here, they took us some of the islands out in the the gophers, and thousands of them flying
Lots of
and
otters.
nesting.
See how Mom came up and snagged her pup? Now is carrying it to safety.
And it's a small place, but it's like a little community where people live. Ate there. We stopped at Perry's Cafe on that little island, and then we went just touring to have a little church there, a Russian Orthodox church up on a little hill, and it's just like little bitty pathways where you can go down to a boardwalk, and that boardwalk is the only thing in that place that's still intact from before the 1964 earthquake. And we walked through it, and I couldn't walk the whole thing. Preacher rented us a golf cart, and we rode around all over and saw the whole place while we was there. Shops to prowl in, lots of things that I wanted to buy, but it's too big for me to take home on the airplane. He was happy about that. Some nice people, met a nice lady from Washington State, and we talked with her a lot. And just
Now Jordan's going to join me and give me her take on Seldovia.
I read about it in some Facebook groups, and that's part of what I did when I was planning this trip. Was I joined some different Facebook groups about Alaska, and you can just search in there, and people have asked questions a million times about what can you do in Homer, and a lot of people had said take the Rainbow Connection tours over to Seldovia.
And it was $80 a person, wasn't
I thought it was well worth it.
it? Yeah, it really was.
For a full day of
Been out
travel
on the
journey.
water.
And we had about 2.5 hours in Seldovia, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it was the perfect amount of time. But
Not very
it's
big.
such a tiny, tiny little community out there.
Who wants to live out there when they can't go anywhere except getting on an airplane or on a boat? I like my little hometown of Center, Alabama. It's a nice place to visit, though, right?
It is. I like that we rented the golf cart. It helped us get around. We went down to a tiny little beach that they have.
Yeah.
It was really pretty. It was, once again, it was like a rocky beach, but it was gorgeous view. Like I said, they gave you about 2.5 hours.
This girl here, she has us an agenda, okay? She, several pages from it, toured the whole place by her agenda because she'd done paid for everything online and clocked it all out, so every hour was full. And at night she comes into our room and she says, shoop, she whips out that paper. She says, this is what we'll be doing tomorrow. I need you up dressed and ready to go by 6 o'clock. And I'm saying, I'm not gonna be ready no 6. Yes ma'am, you will. We're pulling out here at 6 o'clock. So anyway, I really do appreciate all her planning and plotting, but I'm telling you what, you gotta march to the beat of her drum or you're not going.
That's true.
She'll leave you behind. We got back off the boat, was all hungry, and we went to a place called Sammy? No.
Captain Patty's.
Captain Patty's. And of course, see, she had already researched it online. It was on our agenda. Preacher and I didn't have no choice over where to eat supper because she'd already researched where's the best place.
Oh, what score did y'all give it when we were
Oh,
done?
it was a 10. It was a 12 out of 10. It was really good.
See?
Okay.
We shared a halibut
Yeah,
plate.
because it was 6 pieces on one plate. And the preacher got the biggest slab of salmon I've ever seen. We give their restaurant a 10 too, don't we?
It was excellent. And so tomorrow we have another day in Homer, the day that Dad and I are most excited about. We are flying on a float
They
plane.
making me go.
A float plane. You got to ride a float plane in Alaska.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you do. You got to. To Katmai National Park. Then we go to what's called Brooks Falls.
This is our honeymoon 50th anniversary trip. Preacher is getting to see everything that he loves. She picked this agenda girl. She picked everything that he loves. She hasn't picked anything for me yet.
What would you pick in Alaska?
In a good, warm, cozy fire somewhere and prop my feet up.
I'll try to put it in that itinerary.
Anyway, I like all the food. It's been great.
Today has been my favorite day in Alaska so far. To me, today was iconic Alaska. We got to see bears catching salmon, or a lot of them were just looking for salmon. We got to ride in a float plane, take off from the water. Today was iconic Alaska. I give it a 10 out of 10, 100 out of 10, 1,000 out of 10. What would you give it?
Well, you gave it so much. Just leave me out, would you? Well, I'm just not a bear hunter, okay? But I come on this anniversary trip to treat Preacher.
So we booked this adventure with Alaska Bear Adventures, Something that needs to be booked way ahead of time because they do book up for this type of journey. And the way it worked is the day before we actually had to go weigh in. And then the day of, you actually go to the location of where the float plane is at. And so at 7:30, we had to arrive at the Alaska Bear Adventures float plane area. And they made sure our backpacks were around 10 pounds. And we were put on a plane with 7 total passengers, is that right?
Counting the pilot.
Counting the pilot. We go up next. That's what it's gonna look like when we go. Woo! We're going to see the bears. I'm so happy. Everybody's happy, right?
2 out of the 3. My goodness, we had the nicest pilot named Alex. I told him, in fact, he let me interview him. He was so good to us. And of course, I was the weakest link in the flight. And every one of them on the flight all helped me get up in the plane because you got to jump a good ways to get up on that ladder to go up like that. So they was all pushing and helping Miss Joan get up on the plane and to get out. Of course, getting out's easy. You just kind of fall out.
Gravity helps.
Yeah, gravity helps. But Alex, bless him, he was there to help me every step of the way. And he's such a good pilot too. Like, I never really knew when we got back, when we hit the water, I was kind of dreading that, like, oh goodness, we're going to have a big splash. I'm going to feel like I'm going under, but we're going to be okay. But no, we didn't know anything, just as smooth as it could be.
It's a lot better than even just your airline landing.
Yeah.
When that
'cause
lands, you can feel it, and then you can feel the fish stopping the brakes.
That's what I was prepared for.
You didn't feel anything with the float plane landing.
I don't know if it was our pilot. Maybe they're all like that, but I'm telling you what, he was great.
This is at home, Miss Joan. This is my fearless pilot here. What's the name of that plane?
It's a beaver.
A beaver float plane, right? He is awesome, driving, smooth landing, smooth takeoff. Everything was great. I had a beautiful scenery today, and he helped me in the plane and out of the plane, which was a feat. I'm going to tell you, wasn't it?
It was
It's
no
a
big
handful.
deal.
It was a handful.
We went
But
on an
thank
adventure.
you so very
Thank you,
much.
Joan.
I'll just pray you have safe travels everywhere you go.
All right,
All
thank
right.
you.
Oh, and just look, I'm putting it on my channel.
Oh, you put me on the YouTube.
mention the bears.
There you go.
And the takeoff too, we just started up just as smooth, and the scenery, I have no words of the creation of God Almighty, what He has created in this world, and we only saw a piece of it, but I know Alaska's huge. The mountains, the volcano we saw, and it felt like one time I needed to peck him on the back because he looked like his wing was a little close to that mountain, but
It wasn't close.
Jordan stopped
It was
me.
not close.
She stopped me from doing that.
He didn't need a backseat driver.
No, but first thing I asked him, we got the plane, I said, Alex, we got enough gas? Because, you just don't want to run out in a place like that over the ocean. But over the ocean, close to the mountains, I mean, we saw the ice, snow-covered mountains. We never felt scared or anything. We didn't know bumping and jumping.
It wasn't shaky. I thought this might be a shaky flight. It being such a small plane.
Yeah, I brought all
It
my
was
nausea
very
medicine,
smooth.
but I didn't have to take any of it. But it was just awesome. And a new friend, Jill, from Colorado. Girl, I love you. It's a long walk up there to see the bears. I made it with Preacher and Jordan, but it looked like if as slow as I walked, we wasn't going to make it back in time to catch the plane. So she had already seen the bears, and she walked me all the way back. We had the best talk, and she's just the sweetest thing ever. And I love you, Jill. And the couple in the back from Michigan, they just got a big chuckle out of me. That was so sweet. He was always reaching out his hand to help me. So we just had the best little group put together in that plane. And to Alex, I'm supposed to cook him some okra at home with Miss Joan. I'm going to do that as soon as Preacher's okra gets big enough.
So we landed the plane. We didn't land it. At Katmai National Park. Katmai is the place where, if you've seen those iconic shots of the bears getting the salmon from the waterfall area, that is Brooks Falls. That is inside of Katmai National Park. But if you're coming from Homer, which a lot of people do, you'll do one of those adventures like we did with Alaska Bear Adventures and fly in on a float plane. And when we got there, there were just tons of float planes lined up where you could tell a bunch of people had flown in. Some people camped there. We saw people who were fishing there right next to the bears. They're fishing.
Hey, well, we come to board the plane you walk down this little beach area.
and the bears have the right of way. So there's a bear coming at us, and the ranger said, "Whoa, y'all got to go back and go up the hill and come across. The bears are first around here." I want to say, "Shoo, bear, get away!" You don't. They training them so they can stay in their natural path, and we don't get in their way. So we had to walk a long ways out of the way for Mr. Bear.
Hey folks, if you can go up to the visitor center, that'll be a good place to watch. The bear's gonna come down the beach, okay?
You get there, you go to a little cabin where the rangers will talk to you. They call it bear school.
Yeah.
And so it's just like a 10-minute video that tells you how to act out on the trail. You see a bear, just back away like the ranger had told us to do.
Talk the whole time.
You're supposed to talk or
Going
sing.
down the trail. They told us to talk on the trail.
Why do we have to talk on the trail?
I don't know.
Did you go to bear school?
I went to bear school, but I thought,
Preacher, what was the answer?
So the bears hear you coming, you don't startle them.
That was
Yeah.
it.
And said you could sing if you wanted to.
Exactly. Did you have any trouble talking
no, I
the
kept
whole
on
way?
totally unstartled.
Right next to the bear school is where you actually have to store your food. They have a food cache. You can't take food past that spot. You can only take like water with you. Water has to be like a bottle, no glass type dishes or bottles, because any kind of breaks or anything.
That's the teacher in her. She's remembering everything they told us.
I got an A from bear school.
Okay, she got a pen.
I did. Everybody got a pen. Then from bear school, you store your food. There's a little place where you can eat if you want to eat before you walk on. And then you start a little trail and you'll get to what's called a lower platform. Lower platform, that's where we saw some fishermen fishing. You might see a bear or two right there. You keep walking on the platform and then you'll hit another trail.
Got to close every door behind you when you're going through bear country.
And then you have a trail, and to me they could improve if anyone
signs.
is listening from the park rangers. You could have more signs.
Yeah.
They tell you at bear school,
get to
school
this
just
fork
keep
in the
turning
road and
right,
think-
keep turning right.
Yeah.
But why not have a sign there?
Yeah, we're sign people.
We like signs. You just kept turning right on the trail. Each time the choice was to go right.
This fat girl, it was a long walk, let me tell you. I was a huffing and a puffing. Where else would you want to spend your 50th wedding anniversary than going on a bear hunt with my honey? Just a mile, I think
Yeah,
it's just
a
mile
mile.
.3, but the way it curves around and up the inclines, you feel like it's 4 or 5 miles.
So you get to another platform and you'll walk on it, and then you'll get to a point where there's a ranger sitting and there's a platform to the right that's called the Riffles platform. You can go out there as long as you want. The Riffles is good, and you can see lots of bears right there. Or you put your name in with the ranger for Brooks Falls, and that's the platform that keeps going straight. And you only have a certain time you can go there.
30 minutes.
And so you put your name in, and then you go look at the Riffles platform, and then they will call for your group to come to Brooks Falls. And she gives you a time, and you'll have, she or he, we had a she, she'll give you 30 minutes to go look at Brooks Falls. So Brooks Falls, that's the area where you actually have the waterfall right there where they're catching salmon. Now when I booked this adventure, this was supposed to be really good salmon time, but they're saying that this year the salmon is coming in later. I did get a shot of a bear catching salmon. I was excited to get that shot. We still saw several bears, so even if you come when it's not the prime salmon time,
It's awesome.
they're still there looking for food. It's a great adventure.
Now here's Preacher, and he'll tell you his side of the story.
It was been the best day of our vacation so far. Something Jordan and I looked forward to the whole time, even if Joan hadn't.
Yeah.
But she was a real trooper. She really worked hard to walk to the falls and get in and out of the plane. Everything went fine all day. It was very interesting to be at times. We were 10 feet from from brown bears, and that's unusual. As Jordan said, we did get to see them fishing and catch salmon and come up on the bank and eat them. And sometimes when one would catch a salmon, be another one take off after him trying to steal the salmon from him. And so that was kind of cute to watch them as they were playing around on the bank there. I think it's one of the best trips I've ever had. And I'm so thankful to be able to go, and the scenery is just out of this world. You just can't describe what Alaska looks like from a plane flying for an hour and 40 minutes to get to Brook Falls. And so just the flight there and back was well worth the money and the time. But
So we are walking back on the trail from being at Brooks Falls. It was amazing. And we're gonna get back on our float plane and fly back to Homer. As we always have been saying about Alaska, pack layers if you come to Brooks Falls. Because I've been in my short sleeve shirt, I've put on my sweater, I've put on my thick jacket. It's a little bit of everything. And the mosquitoes are massive, are they not?
they are. That's why they call them a state bird. They're big and they will bite.
But I will say I haven't gotten as many bites as I do in Alabama.
No.
Because you know I get eaten alive. I think I have one bite so far. I hope I didn't just jinx myself.
It was great. I was watching, I think, 13 different bears at one time feeding out there in the water. It was an awesome sight, something you'd always dream of, but I'm just thankful I got to see it. The trip over here was great too. Got to see the mountains and the snow-covered areas, and just beautiful territory that you'd never see unless you got in the float plane and flew out here. We'll come to Alaska, go to Brook Falls and see the bears. It's worth the time and money, and the scenery is worth the trip by itself.
And book it with Alaska Bear Adventures. When we got back, it's a full day now, from like 7:30 to 4:30, wasn't it? And so we decided to just go ahead and have a dinner and then come on to the room, let me crash. And we ate at the Land's End restaurant that's right here at the resort that we're staying on. All three got the same thing. I guess we was just too tired to look at the menu very long. But we all got the halibut, french fries, and slaw. And mine was very, very good. I mean, it was cooked to a crisp.
Yeah, mine was perfect too. It was very good food, and some of the best seafood that I've ever found anywhere is right here in Homer.
That ended our last day in Homer. But tomorrow we got another adventure for Preacher to see. One of his Alaskan people he watches on television. We're going to go see them tomorrow. We'll tell you all about that. And we're so blessed, right,
Yes,
that we're able to be here among, you can see this awesome scenery just outside of our room. I mean, I'm still in awe of the whole trip. I'm loving it. Happy anniversary, Preacher.
Happy anniversary. Today we're at the Kilcher Homestead, just outside of Homer, Alaska. This is a show I've watched for many years now. The name is Alaska, the Last Frontier. And this is the Kilcher family homestead where they've been for generations. But we came out today to look at it and see how people live and how they used to live now for many years here, about 10 miles outside of Homer, Alaska.
We were driving to the Kilchers and we just saw on the side of the road moose eating at the side of this building. So we stopped to make a video.
At home, and Miss Joan has now been to the
Kilcher family.
Kilcher family's
Homestead.
homestead in Homer, Alaska. Preacher watches that show on TV, and we wanted to look them up.
Yeah, we found the homestead where they have been for, I guess, over 100 years. They've got a lot of property here, and
Amazing view.
yeah, look at the view they've got, and they're back
Goodness.
looking at the front door.
Yeah.
Beautiful area.
And a lady took us in the cabin and gave us a 1-hour talk about their lifestyle. We saw a lot of the instruments or whatever they used back then. I got to play the piano. Getting to play the piano at the Kilcher Homestead that Joel has played.
And she hosts
glad we got to come see it today.
Well, that wraps up our time in Homer. We all love that town, but it's time for us to mosey on over to Seward, and that'll be on the next episode of At Home with Miss Joan.
I'm not sure if it's Katmai National Park or National Preserve.
I don't know why. Can you get there without getting on that little plane?
No.
On our second day in Homer, our tour guide had booked us.
Say who your tour guide is, they won't know it's me.
Okay, but what's the name of that place?
From the time we left going to Atlanta.
Chew. Okay.
From the time we
Wait,
left,
say it again.
we're on the Rainbow Tours boat to Seldovia.
Seldovia.
To Seldovia.
Say it loud.
Okay. Hey y'all, Preacher and Miss Joan. Wait a minute, I gotta start over.